And welcome back. You're watching LoadedTV.com, and this is What the Heck Tech. I'm your host, Ken McKim. For those of you who are new to the show, we do this every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific. We talk about everything that you should know in the tech world. And there's a lot to know, so let's get started right away. First story is about a meditation app. So meditation is an old school practice, no doubt. But lately, it's been taken into the digital realm. Reaching nirvana can take some doing, but now your smartphone can help you. How? Well, as with everything else, there's an app for that, and it's called Budify. Take a look at this quick video.
Life can be relentless, with lots of stress but not much space. That's why we made Budify 2, the app which brings mindfulness to our busy city lives. Packed full of guided meditations you can listen to all through the day, whether that's traveling, going to bed, or taking a quick break, even when working online. Budify 2 also has a timer if you want to meditate without guidance. Tips and tricks to deepen your understanding, and stats to see how you're doing. Growing your mindfulness, concentration, and balance wherever you are. Budify 2, mindfulness for the digital generation.
So that's fantastic. I mean, I've always been into the concept of meditation, but really horrible at follow-through. So something like this would actually ensure that I would remember to be one with the universe or something like that. Unfortunately, you will only find enlightenment if you're an iOS fan, though. There's absolutely no help for the Android faithful, at least on this edition of the app. This app is currently available in the App Store for $2. Moving on, next story. Moto X came out, blew everyone away. Very controversial phone, had a lot of very cool features. One of the most cool features was a new style of notifications on the lock screen. Arguably, this was the feature that was most craved by other Android handset makers and users. And it was the hardest to duplicate. It's been emulated by a bunch of various third-party developers, but never really replicated, at least until now. The app is called AcDisplay, I know, strange name, and it's absolutely awesome. Take a look at this video by internet tech reviewer Chris Naka. You're going to be impressed.
Hey guys, I wanted to make a video here checking out AcDisplay or AcDisplay, and what this is going to allow you to do is get Motorola's active display on your device. Now, I know there's quite a few apps that do this, but this one is really well made. It's really simple. It's actually designed to be light on the resources and battery life, so it's definitely worth a look. Now, once a notification arrives, the screen will light up and show that notification along with any other notifications you have, and it's also accompanied by a timer ring, which you can see right there. And once that timer ring runs out, the display will turn off. So it's not going to be on for too long. It shouldn't waste too much of your battery life. Let's go ahead and check it out in some more detail. So when a notification arrives, that's your chance to actually act on it before the timer runs out. For the most recent notification, you just press and hold and detailed information will be at the top. And you can actually go through your other notifications just by tapping each one, and again the information will be at the top. You can either swipe up to actually unlock straight to that application, or you can swipe down to unlock straight into your device. If you just want to read a notification but not do anything else, you can just double tap the display and it will go to sleep. It does also allow you to dismiss individual notifications. To do that, you can tap and hold and then choose to swipe either to the left or to the right, and it will dismiss that notification. Of course, it will also dismiss it from the status bar as well, so you don't have to clear it out twice. In terms of the settings, you've got options like only have it active while charging, turn on low priority notifications so things like Google Now can appear, and you can actually change the timers as well, and you've got 3 different options for that: when a notification is selected, when the inactive area is touched, or when the phone is in your pocket. Now, this application is always being developed, and the developer is really doing some great things. He's actually released a new video with some really awesome features. I'll link that in the description so you can check those out. But he's apparently going to give you the option to make this into a lock screen. He's also going to give you the option to actually shake the device for it to show the active display and all sorts of stuff like that. So stay tuned because it's getting better and better. I think it's one of the best implementations of active display, if not the best. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Peace out.
So that's fantastic. I mean, this is one of the key reasons that I wanted to pick up a Moto X in the first place, was the active notifications. It's very cool. Now keep in mind, you're not going to see the same battery savings with this if your phone is not an AMOLED. Remember, the very cool thing about the Moto X being an AMOLED screen is when it would display the notifications, it would only light up the minimum amount of pixels needed to display the information. So if you've got an LCD screen, this app is not going to, unfortunately, emulate the battery savings that you would have on a Moto X, but still very cool stuff. The latest stable release of this app is available currently in the Google Play Store for free. So check it out. Really, you've got nothing to lose. Moving on. Cameras. Phones. Camera phones. See what I did there? Never mind. Anyway, we all take pictures with our smartphones. And arguably, Apple cameras have always kind of come out on top in the world of awesome photos on your smartphone. So Samsung wants to change that. Now, they've tried before, but they have a new effort. It's called the Galaxy K Zoom. And it really seems like this device is more phone, or rather more camera with a phone kind of attached to it. They really focused a lot on the picture-taking capabilities. And the result is something that's definitely different. So watch this quick video from Todd Hazelton over at Techno Buffalo on YouTube, who had a quick first look at it and got to play around with it. Take a look.
Hey everyone, this is Todd Hazelton with Techno Buffalo, checking out the brand new Samsung Galaxy K Zoom. It was just announced today, and as you can see, it's sort of a follow-up on the Galaxy S4 Zoom, but it's not actually in the same family. It's a smartphone first, with a really nice camera attached to it. You've got a 20.7 megapixel lens on the back there, and I'll try to open it up for you here. And it's got a 10x optical zoom. Okay, now you're looking at the front, and that's a 4.8 inch display. It's a Super AMOLED HD screen, 1280 by 720 pixel resolution though, so not the full 1080p that you see on the Galaxy S5. But moving around the device, you have some of that design carried over. You can see the dimpled back. On the right side, you have a power button, the volume controls, and the camera quick launch key and the shutter button. Micro USB charging on the bottom. On the left, there's a micro SD card slot that supports up to 64 gigs of storage, and up top, a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. And of course, here next to the camera, you have a Xenon flash that goes with it. Under the hood, you've got a hexa-core processor that's 6 cores, taking advantage of a quad-core 1.3 gigahertz processor, in addition to a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core processor. 2 gigs of RAM on board too. Under the hood, there's a removable, and you can see the flap there to pull it up. 2,430 milliamp hour battery, LTE category 4, and like I said, 8 gigs of storage on board in addition to the micro SD card slot. And up top here, a 2 megapixel camera. Let's check out some of the camera features, and I just do that by hitting the camera button there. And on the back, you have, you can see that this popped out now with the 10x optical zoom. See if I can do this with one hand. Okay, so there are several modes here. Some of them Pro suggests is a really cool one, depending on the scenario. So we'll shoot here. You can see it brought up vivid color, strong color, color transit, and text because it thinks it's in macro mode. But say I go down to a darker situation and try to focus, that changes with warm mode, blue hue, sunrise, because it thinks I'm in a darker area. So pretty cool there. Also, it's got a neat selfie alarm, it's called. So what we do is the screen sets up right there with a box, and then we're going to try to get in that box. So let's try that now. And you'll hear it beep 3 times when we're in focus. So it had a little delay because it was probably looking at the camera, didn't think it saw my face, but there I am. So you can use the nicer camera, the 20.7 megapixel camera, to snap your own photos, as opposed to relying on the 2 megapixel front-facing camera. So right now, no plans for this to launch in the United States, but different variants will launch around in Asia, and we might see a 16 gig storage version in some markets, but so far, nothing here. And I just wanted to bring you a quick look here. It's the Galaxy K Zoom, and this is Todd Hazelton with Techno Buffalo.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for watching that video.
So that's what the world needed, right? A selfie alarm. Anyway, I have to say this is definitely a better effort from Samsung than their last attempt with the Samsung Galaxy S4 Zoom. This one runs Android KitKat. It has that 20 megapixel camera versus the S4 Zoom's 16 megapixel camera. And of course the more powerful removable battery. As indicated in the video though, it's not coming to the US. There's no pricing yet, and you're just gonna have to wait, at least here. For our viewers in Singapore though, get ready. It is on its way to you. So there you go. Moving on from Android to iOS 8 specifically. Lots of speculation. What's it gonna look like? What support is gonna be baked into this edition? A lot of people wanna know, is it gonna have support for the Apple Watch, which isn't really a thing yet either. So there's a site called TechRadar, and they put together a video to show exactly what they think it will look like when it arrives. And honestly, I hope it looks this slick, because this is a slick looking video. Take a look.
What song is this?
Okay, I found this on the web.
So yes, TechRadar did a great job with that, but keep in mind, this is a concept video. None of that you saw was real. It's just what they imagine might happen based on early leaked reports. Honestly, I'm going back to an Android phone as soon as I can, so I'm not as excited as a lot of people are. But if you are one of the Apple iOS faithful, then you probably are, and good for you. You have something to look forward to. So we have something to look forward to, commercials. Well, just kidding, we're not looking forward to them, but here they are. We will be back on the other side. You are watching What the Heck Tech on LoadedTV.com. Stay with us.
When you're thinking about New Orleans, why not let jazz cook for you?
Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. That's what we do at Jazz, a Louisiana kitchen. It's awesome, baby. And you don't have to be from New Orleans to love the great Southern cooking. I can tell you that.
Papa Vic here to invite you to the biggest Mardi Gras party this side of the French Quarter.
Fat Tuesday is February 12th this year, so grab your mask and beads and get your tails on down here. We'll have beads, bugs, and bands with live entertainment starting at noon and running all day. Sign up for a trip for two to good old New Orleans and enjoy food and drink specials all day. We'll be partying Bourbon Street style with our enticing hurricanes and rum runners and the most authentic Cajun cuisine in northern Nevada. Can't make it a Jazz? Let us know, and we'll bring the taste, smells, and sounds of the French Quarter to your home or office party. Conveniently located in the Legend Shopping Center in Sparks Marina, just west of Shields. Jazz, a sultry day and a Dixieland band in every bite.
If you're dreaming about New Orleans, let jazz do your cooking up for you.
Jazz, where there's always a party every night.
Brandy here. I'm back with Danny Frere with Locations Racing. Update us on how it's going.
So far really good. The truck's been running really nice. We are currently in first place.
back out there eating some dust and chasing him down.
And welcome back. You're watching LoadedTV.com. This is What the Heck Tech. I'm your host, Ken McKim. So, coming back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about iOS, specifically what it's going to be on next. Well, of course, the iPhone, so-called iPhone 6. Most people are speculating it's going to have a larger screen, of course, and they all wonder how thin this one's going to be. Well, there's one reviewer out there that has gone to a great lengths to demonstrate just how thin he thinks it's going to be, and he did it based on some strange circumstantial evidence, mostly the design of the most recent iPod Touch, as well as some leaked designs for a case that will supposedly fit the new iPhone. Watch this video from Lou over at Unbox Therapy. Take a look.
What's up guys, Lou here, back with another video regarding the next generation iPhone, or the iPhone 6. Or maybe the iPhone Air. Regardless of what it's called, I got my hands on this case right here, which may or may not be for that next gen device, but based on some of the leaks that are out there and some of the component pictures and also just general speculation on what Apple will do with the next iPhone, I'm led to believe that this is something like what the iPhone 6 is going to look like. Now, after an inspection of this case and other devices, etc., the most striking thing about the design of this case is how thin it is. It's incredibly thin. It's thinner than the current generation iPhone, and it is an external dimension. So the next gen iPhone is going to have to fit inside of this case, meaning it must be even thinner. So I was thinking to myself, maybe, just maybe, the internal dimension is exactly the same as this right here, which is the current generation iPod Touch. I didn't own one, so I went out to the store and bought one just for this comparison, and I think the results might be surprising. So let's go ahead and get this iPod Touch out of the packaging and test it out inside of what might be the iPhone 6 case. So from left to right, we have the iPhone 5S. In the center is the current generation iPod Touch. And then on the far right, we have the purported iPhone 6 case. Now, as I said before, the most striking aspect of this case for me is just how thin it is. I understand, of course, the form factor here is larger in height and width to accommodate what we believe will be a larger screen in the iPhone 6. But the thinness of this case, as well as the curved design, reminded me a lot of the iPod Touch. So when comparing the iPhone 5S to the iPod Touch, you'll notice that the Touch is not only thinner, significantly thinner, it's also curved in design as opposed to this flat edge and the more squared off design that exists on the iPhone. It's curved, it's thinner, and on top of that, you have the newly designed volume buttons, which will remind you a lot of that case I was talking about. It also features buttons in this style here, as opposed to the older circular design that's found on the iPhone 5S, iPhone 5, iPhone 4S, and iPhone 4 even, going way back. So there's no doubt to me that this would make a lot of sense for Apple to move in this direction here when it comes to volume buttons to match up with the other products in its lineup, including the iPads. So as mentioned, this case is obviously much larger than the current iPod Touch. As we expect, a screen increase is the reason for that. But there's one dimension that we are here to test, and that is the thickness. I really want to know if it's possible for the next generation iPhone to actually be as thin as the iPod Touch, which is very, very thin, as I've shown you here. So let's go ahead and slide it into the case here. Now, obviously, it doesn't fill out the case because it's much smaller in terms of screen size. But something very interesting here, if you turn it around, you'll notice that the thickness is exact. It is exactly the same thickness as the iPod Touch, the case that I'm talking about. And on top of that, these volume buttons line up exactly. So they actually function. You can actually click through and use the buttons, assuming you've got it uptight here. But there you go. The buttons function. You won't be able to hear that click, but they click through perfectly and they line up perfectly. And if you peek through where the hold switch will exist on an iPhone, doesn't exist on an iPod Touch, but if you look through that little hole, you'll see that the thickness is identical between the case and the iPod Touch. So this may point in the direction of a thinner iPhone 6 with the new design, so that the design language across devices is a little bit more consistent. So anyways, there you have it, guys. We have, I guess, determined to a certain extent that if this case is legitimate, it points at an iPhone with the same thickness as the current generation iPod Touch. The moment that I first held the iPod Touch, I thought it would be really cool as a phone just because of how thin it was. But on the negative side, a super thin device generally means a small battery. So we may not be seeing gigantic improvements in battery life with the next generation iPhone if it does happen to follow this particular design right here. Anyway, guys, that wraps up this quick video. If you enjoyed it, please remember to leave a thumbs up down below. And if you're interested in more Apple-related leaks leading up to the launch of the next iPhone or iPad, this is the place to be, so make sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber yet. Once again, there they are. The current gen iPod Touch, the current gen iPhone, and the significantly thinner form factor that exists on the iPod Touch. That could be what the iPhone 6 looks like. We will have to wait and see, and time will tell. All right, later, guys.
So I think Lou over at Unbox Therapy might be onto something. Sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, but as he pointed out, we're all going to have to wait until the fall to find out. Moving on. You know, I'm a geek and I like all manner of useless pop culture debates that, you know, don't mean anything in the end, like who would win in a fight, the Hulk or Superman, or who's smarter, Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four or Professor Xavier of the X-Men, you know, those kinds of pointless debates. Love those. This next video, however, asks a question that I had never thought to ask before. Who would win in a fight between Harry Potter and a pre-armored Darth Vader? You're about to find out. Enjoy.
Which one of you guys took my phone off charge? Oi!
Yeah, I did.
Why?
The phone was dead.
I'll throw down, Brie.
Scared, Potter.
You wish. Thanks, Hagrid. Luke. Use the Force, Luke. Harry, your father says you're fighting like a pussy, Harry. Use the power of the dark side.
You are the chosen one! It was sent you in to destroy the Sith, not join them!
What the fuck are you talking about?
So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to feel about the outcome of that duel, but I'm pretty excited I got to see it. I think those guys did an amazing job. I've seen a lot of special effects videos, but that one was exceptionally cool. So, again, useless pop culture debate, but fun anyway. So stick around. We've got one more commercial break to take, and when we come back, we will have our What the Heck Tech story for the week. You are watching LoadedTV.com. Don't go anywhere.
When you're thinking about New Orleans, why not let jazz cook for you?
Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. That's what we do at Jazz, a Louisiana kitchen. It's awesome, baby. And you don't have to be from New Orleans to love the great Southern cooking. I can tell you that.
Papa Vic here to invite you to the biggest Mardi Gras party this side of the French Quarter. Fat Tuesday is February 12th this year, so grab your mask and beads and get your tails on down here. We'll have beads, bugs, and bands with live entertainment starting at noon and running all day. Sign up for a trip for two to good old New Orleans and enjoy food and drink specials all day. We'll be partying Bourbon Street style with our enticing hurricanes and rum runners and the most authentic Cajun cuisine in northern Nevada. Can't make it a Jazz? Let us know, and we'll bring the taste, smells, and sounds of the French Quarter to your home or office party. Conveniently located in the Legend Shopping Center in Sparks Marina, just west of Shields. Jazz, a sultry day and a Dixieland band in every bite.
If you're dreaming about New Orleans, let jazz do your cooking up for you.
Jazz, where there's always a party every night.
And welcome back. This is LoadedTV.com, and you're watching What the Heck Tech. I'm your host, Ken McKim. We still don't have flying cars, so that's not the story of the week. But we do have cars that are one step closer to driving by themselves. Google has done an amazing job and have made significant progress in this area. Take a look at this video, and you can judge for yourself.
I'm Priscilla, one of the test drivers on the Google self-driving car project. Our team is responsible for keeping the cars and other people safe while on the road, and for providing feedback on how they perform in the real world. A big part of our job is to go out into the world and uncover all the potential scenarios that a car might encounter. Then we help the engineers teach the car how to best navigate each one. Here are some examples of situations that we regularly encounter on the streets of Mountain View, California. We've taught the vehicle to recognize and navigate through construction zones. Our sensors spot the orange signs and cones early to alert the car of the lane blockage ahead, and we can change lanes safely. You'll also notice the vehicle typically moves to keep a safe distance away from large obstacles, like this truck stopped on the side of the road. Now we're approaching a railroad crossing, which requires special care. Notice the red fence and railroad sign that appears to the computer as we approach the intersection. This means that we'll wait until the tracks are clear of other vehicles before proceeding. Our cars treat cyclists as a special category of moving object. Watch in this example, when the cyclist holds up his arm, our software detects the hand signal and predicts his movement into our lane. The car knows to continue yielding to the cyclist passing by, even when he changes his mind, multiple times. So now what you'll see is our vehicle at a busy intersection. Here the cars are represented by pink boxes, and the cyclists and pedestrians are the red and yellow boxes. Now notice the boxes moving past us. It's the cyclist and pedestrian's turn to go. The red and green fences indicate that the car will stop and wait until the path is clear. We even detect the cyclist approaching from behind and wait until they've passed. Once the cyclist has gone by, the vehicle determines that it's safe to turn. We still have more work to do, but it's fun to see how many situations we can now handle smoothly and naturally. See you on the road.
So there you go. Like I said, not flying cars yet, but we are ever closer to the dream of having a car that will drive you to work. And you won't have to do anything except sip coffee on the way, and that'll be a fantastic time. Still years away though, but fun peek into the future nonetheless. So that's it. We're wrapping up another week. I can't believe it's gone by this fast. But if you have any questions in the meantime, please send them to me, ken@loadedtv.com. And until next time, I'm Ken McKim. You guys take care.